Those types of communications I think are really handy, and I'm sure the Gungahlin Community Council would be quite happy to republish those types of things as well. So
Absolutely.
Just a thought. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And look, we do try and engage with our media unit as often as we can. Sometimes it can be a bit of a balancing act of trying not to inundate people with information at the same time as well. But yeah, I 100% agree. Social media has been a massive friend to us in releasing that sort of information. We will try and put more out there. If we identify certain trends, as you're saying, I know that was an issue for a while, a couple of years now back, where people were selling through Facebook Marketplace, and at the meetup, items were being stolen. Just address that specifically now, the biggest advice I can give is make sure that you're under CCTV and in a public area with people around, and don't ever meet up at your personal residence. You don't want people knowing your address. Shopping centres, service stations are fantastic places to meet up. And the Gungahlin Police Station is always open to the public. You're more than welcome to come and have a handover in our front office if you'd like to. And I'm sure our officers in there will keep an eye out through the window for you.
Social media, absolutely.
Take it on board and try and make sure that we do engage as much as possible.
All right.
Any other questions?
Well, if that's all, thank you, Dave, for coming out tonight.
No worries.
It's really important.
I'll have to go back on a response now, so enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for having me.
That's right.
Thank
you. All right. I was in another meeting earlier this morning. We covered some of what was Dave's just covered. But the crew from Canberra Metro, who run the light rail service, were talking about how they'd have had some challenges with antisocial behaviour, and a couple of officers were able to get on a few light rail vehicles, and that had a significant impact on just the occasional presence of a police officer, sort of smoothed that out a bit. So there's no shortage for boots on the street, as they say. All right, the next item on our agenda is an update for the Gungahlin Mosque and the plans for expansion. So I ask Brian and Masood to jump up, please. I think I've got to get a picture up, so I'll do that while you've got. So.
Thank you for inviting us. That's good. So, good evening. Peace be upon all of you. In Islamic way, I can say Assalamu alaikum. Actually, there is a bit confusion about the Gungahlin Mosque and Canberra Muslim community. Actually, I am the president of Gungahlin Canberra Muslim community, and we have a project that is Gungahlin Mosque. So, Gungahlin Mosque is for our religious aspects, but the Canberra Muslim community works for social, cultural and religious, all aspects of the Muslim community here. So it was first established for the betterment of the migrants, first generation migrants who have some problems in communicating, as I have problem in speaking in English, so with different linguistic and cultural backgrounds. So our aim was to how we can accommodate all these people so that they don't feel isolated. They will be mingling places, a mingling place. They will come there. They will talk prayers as well, and how they will be accommodated in the wider community. So this is actually our first aim. But now we are not expanding the mosque. We are actually expanding our aims, our scopes. So when we established this one, we had majority of them are first generation migrants. Now we have the second generation, and in very short time, the number of second generation will exceed the first generations. So now we have to expand our scopes. So this is why actually we already started expanding our scopes. We are doing in a very smaller scales, and now we want to do in a very formal way. So now I will explain how we expand our scopes and what we are going to do in the next phase. So sorry that we are not so much organized today. We did not prepare any presentation. We are a bit undecided whether we will come or not. But finally we thought that we should come and we should share our experience, and so that there is no gap between. Yes, because in Australia for last about 15 years, I am working at university for 12 years. So I am a part of Australia. I am a citizen of Australia, and all of the Muslim community here, they also thinks like this, but there are some gaps like this. So today our main aim is to minimize the gaps and actually express how we are working for us and for the bigger community. So when we have a bigger second generation people, second generation here, in the Gungahlin Mosque here, every week about 300 to 400 kids come. Kids means young people. So there's problems like this when they grow up. Actually, they forget their main language. They are more Australian than the Muslims, or actually their roots. So we have to actually integrated them in both ways. They will have very good communication connection with their own land and also Australia. This is why we established some language school. So currently we have 300 students there and 40 volunteer teachers. They are teaching them Arabic and also Islamic values. And actually the teachers show them how the values of this country is very similar to the teaching of Islam. We are actually, a good Muslim, be a good Australians as well. So this is how we actually teach them, and we teach them how they will be more inclined with the Australian community, and also at the same time they will keep their originality as well. So we have education program for them. We have some sports program. So we for the whole year we hired the Emory School school hall room, and about 100 children come every Saturday there to play different types of sports there. We have some sports facilities in the mosque as well. So then we have a program for
education program for youth as well.
and we very frequently we organize the presentation, how to do good presentation, the other aspects as well. And then we have some programs for elderly people. So we have specific groups who visit to the elderly people, not only when they are sick. We make good connection with them for the whole year. We get information before they are getting sick, and also if they need any help, they are maybe they are living isolated, nobody to help them. So we go there and cut their grass, do some help them in all aspects like this one. And whenever anybody is sick, we visit from them. We have a specific team to visit them at home. And even we have a team for funeral as well. So if any isolated people, no family there, if the person dies, we have the facility to help them, the funeral and burial services as well. So this all things we are doing now, but initially our aim was not to do all these things. Initially our plan was to do only to feel them, they feel that they are not isolated. Now we are doing all these things. We are also working for the wider community as well. For bushfire, we collect money. For flood in Pakistan, we are collecting money and send to Pakistan. And importantly, in Muslim tradition, actually, every rich person annually donate 2.5% of their whole wealth. And what was happened earlier, they usually send this money back to their country. But according to Islamic rules, we have to spend where I live. So we collect this money as well. And if we find any poor people throughout the Australia, we send the money to them. We have some other festival where we collect the rice, food, the meat and other things. So we have some storage at different people's house. So we store them. And for any poor people, actually, we provide them all this food. So this is how we expand all of our facilities, and it is continuing throughout the year. But the major problems is that when every day 300 to 400 children is coming, and we don't have any facility, playing facility for them. Actually, it is not possible to hire places and accommodate them all the times. We have 300 students to teach, and we have only capacity of 50 students. So we have some facilities for the isolated women who are have some mental issues, and also they are single mothers. So we have some qualified person who give the consultation supports, and also we bring all of them, and they spend a couple of hours there, but we don't have any space for this one. So to do all these things, actually, we are planning to expand our scopes under the Canberra Muslim community.
It is not actually
Expanding the facility of the mosque, or we are building another mosque, we are building other facilities, and in the facility we may have some sports facility, indoor and outdoor both, for maybe some karate or other facilities as well, and also the mingling place for males and females as well, and some other activities like there may be a community center like these things. Then yes, different events can be happens there as well. So this is all we are planning to do in the next phase. But what we think actually all of our aspects. So we know the cultural backgrounds of us. So we are doing something, establishing something that is appropriate to our culture. But we want to actually engage more with the wider community. We want that the other community will also use this one. So kids from other backgrounds,
if they want to learn
language, Arabic language or the other language, they also can come here. If they want to don't have the playing facilities, they can come here and play. So in all aspects, we want that this facility will be used for the wider community. So today actually we come here not to only express our views, also get your views. So how we can build these facilities so that the wider community will be benefited as well. So this is how actually we are not so much organized. So this is what we are going to do, and actually I am here to learn from you how we can establish these facilities so that it can be used both the Muslim community and the wider community as well. And we need actually very good harmonious relationship between the Muslim community and wider Australian community, because from the heart we are Australians, but for some reason we can't express in that way, or some people may not think in that way. So we actually need more mingling and more communication between us, and
through these facilities, we want to
do these things. So this is my views here, and actually I'm happy to answer your questions, but more I want to learn from you actually what you expect that we can build there, and so that it will be more useful. Thank you.
Are there any questions people have got? I'll just make sure this mic is working. Yes. So, any questions?
I just want to add to what.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming down and presenting your view. I think this is the same concern raised by different communities across Gungahlin. What we're lacking in Gungahlin is the community centre, exactly what you've been saying. There's no space for kids to go around and play and stuff. I think it's a good vision. I think we need to make this into a bigger vision where I think the government needs to fulfill the election promise where they promised about the community facilities. Yeah. I think if that's going to happen, I think it's not just a Muslim community or anyone should be able to use a big facility where everyone can have their own sessions and stuff. Yeah. I think that's what we are lacking in Gungahlin, which is a good point. And these are the concerns, not just for the first time we are hearing the same thing from a different community. So I think the community centre, we need a big facility with the indoor, outdoor sports and everything. So that's need to be added. Just sort of adding on what you were saying.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin?
Thanks very much for the talk. If I if I was a group that wanted to use some facilities, the mosque wouldn't be one of the first places that I would think of that I might be able to go to. And so I suspect that I'm much like many of the community, and that is we need to know that you can do that sort of thing. And I have no suggestions on how you can do it, but I think somehow or other you need to be able to know that you're welcoming and somehow or other get people to know that it's a possibility.
So, yeah, I'll jump in and sort of offer some comments on that. One of the pieces of feedback that the Community Council gave to the consultant working on the ACT government-funded community centre project, we were saying one of the functions that's needed is a single place where people can come and say, well, I'm looking for a room for a meeting, or I want to rent a hall or a sports a basketball court to do karate or whatever it might be, and then they could identify potential resources where that could be met. So hopefully that would come along, and we wouldn't have to try the scout hall, then contact the mosque, and then try a club or whatever it might be. So that's part of that. So I think that kind of answers the question. But I was asked, the site you've got now, the mosque's on 235, is that right?
Yeah, 235.
Yeah, and are you planning to build more on that same block, or are you looking to establish something somewhere else?
So I think we have the, you can see here. So yeah, the thing is that actually we have some spaces in the mosque now, but actually the amount of things we are planning to do, we can't accommodate all this. Only 20% can be done there. So we may ask for the other land, the car park land. So if we get this land, then we can do the car park in the down level, and then the upper level should be the facilities. And if we can't get it, then we have to build everything in our existing land, and it will cover only 20% of things we are planning to do.
Yeah, well, good luck with securing some more land. Any other questions for Dr. Masood? All right, well, thank you very much for coming along tonight. It's very good to have early engagement, to know about these things and have a chance. So if anyone needs Dr. Masood's details, they can certainly contact the Community Council.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, last presentation we have this evening is for the team working on the Casey development. Kip Tanner is town planner working for Plan It. I'm not sure Plan It, and has been working with the owners of that site, and who also own the group centre, and he'll outline their plans for one of the blocks they own. So, Kip, over to you, and I'll get some slides up for you.
All right. Thanks, Peter. Thanks for people for coming along this evening. I'll start talking before the slides are on the screen, but obviously we're here representing the development proposal, which is on Block 9 in Section 132 at the Casey Group Centre. And so this is this first slide just gives the sort of artist's impression of what the
building could look like from the car park
at the Casey shops. And I think
Your clicker may not work for a second, just bear with me. I'm dealing with a crisis.
All right, so as Peter said, the developers of the Casey Group Centre are the owners of this land. They are also the owners of the shopping centre and the car park, which is between the shopping centre and this site. And so I think that is an important sort of piece of information for people to know about. They were the developers of the whole area around the immediate residential development around Casey, and the multi-unit apartments that are right adjacent to the shopping centre. So they originally bought a very large piece of land off the ACT government with the purpose of developing the Casey Group Centre and its environs. And so progressively over the last 10 years or so, that's what they've been working on. And so this is one of the last sites that's to be developed
in the group centre.
And part of that agreement with buying the whole centre was also to service but hand back the two sites just to the north of this area to the ACT government, so the ACT government can divest that land or use it for community facilities. So that's happened, and so that land is now on the government's land release program for the community facilities. So I think that, all right, so the slide presentation that we've got here tonight is, it's the same presentation which is available on the website, and so I'm assuming that some people here have already looked through that, and so I'll sort of go through it a little bit more, but I'll explain what I think are some of the important elements about it, and then we'll have some questions. These words are all on the website, and well, I won't dwell on them, but there's some statistics in here which are on some of the other slides, and
It is a large project.
and it's got 219 units in it, which is and so that's potentially a population of maybe 500 people, depending on who moves in. And it comes with 2 stories of basement car parking. The site's a little bit complex because it falls away down the hill from the car park level. We have some mandatory planning controls in the Casey Precinct Code that require the ground floor plane that fronts onto the car park to have sort of retail/commercial frontage to it to activate that side of the car park. And also because we're in the CZ1 commercial zone, that's the zone which is the sort of the core of a group centre or a core of a shopping centre. We're not allowed to have residential use at the ground floor in that zone, and so that's why in our plans on the other side of the building, from what you can see here, that's facing towards the pond, we're aspiring to have
Have a sort of a commercially
adaptable unit, like maybe something, a shop top sort of thing, but maybe you can have an office or some sort of commercial arrangement in the ground floor there that looks out over the pond. So importantly, the location, obviously people, but it's 5 kilometres from the town centre by bicycle, and I to prove a point, I rode here. I parked at in the car park tonight and rode down here for the presentation. So I can tell you that you can get to this point by bike without riding on a road or even crossing a road. It took me 15 minutes to get here, and I'm using all the underpasses. So it is actually that if you had a job in the town centre, hopefully, the government builds a hospital here or something, and there's employment goes up. But or if you want to get to light rail and get into town, it is actually a pretty good ride down the hill. It's going to be uphill back to the car. Yes, all right. So this image shows the site. It's a sort of funny triangle site that sits down the back of the car park. Access to the site is off Bentley Place, which is the road that goes in behind the service station. The existing car park with the 420 car spaces on it, approximately, is owned by the developers who also own the shopping centre. So I know that obviously we've been receiving some emails via our website already, and so I know that people are raising concerns about the use of that car park. But bear in mind that the owners of the shopping centre place as much value in that car park as the community does, because they know that people come and shop at the shopping centre because the car parking is accessible and easy, and they are drawing people from well outside Casey to come and shop here, and so they know the value of that, and so you're not going to lose that amenity as part of this project. And then in terms of one of the other things that people have been writing to me about via the website is just concerns about overall traffic congestion. And so this slide here is showing that with the access off Bentley Place, the traffic coming and going from this site, it doesn't have to pass through the centre area. It's just getting around the roundabout and then out onto the arterial road network. And so I was talking to our traffic engineer today just to make sure that I can, the traffic modelling that's, and obviously there'll be the full traffic report will be part of our development application. He's very confident that the roundabout can cope with the traffic that would be coming through it. And so obviously, there'll be more traffic going around the roundabout, but it's not, the modelling looking into the future suggests that it's an intersection that's still going to be functional. And the other thing that we're showing here, showing the value of the green strip that runs through the Casey area between the pond and the parks, and also the red little squiggly line, which shows how the main entry to the shopping centre lines. And that's where we're lining up the sort of entry to the retail frontage of this building as well. So I'll keep clicking through, and this is, I guess, this shows how it sits in relation to the town centre in a little bit more detail. The site up the top, which is labelled PG, the owners have suggested that they're quite interested in putting a playground in that space up there. They think that that's something that's lacking a little bit, and they're putting that into the presentation. We've labelled the three sites through the middle with an F, which as a future development site, and there's been some people asking questions about that. That's just acknowledging that those sites are zoned CZ1 as well. They're part of the retail core of Casey.
But those...
and so those sites come with development potential, but that development potential is only going to be realised when there is demand for it, and also the draft lease which is issued for those sites and the deed which is associated with the current land holding basically identifies a minimum car parking requirement on that site. I can't remember the exact number, but it's the number that's on there now, as an ongoing requirement for that site to provide into the future. So even if development happens on that site, it will be accompanied with car parking, like that number of car parking plus the parking to support the development. So I think that's something that people probably want to know about. And then obviously the sites to the north, which are the community facility sites. This diagram is showing a way that we think it could all tie together nicely, but obviously we don't have specific control over what goes on those community facility sites. And this is the sort of entry to the building that lines up with the
walkway to the car park.
And so then just kind of skipping through quickly the architectural basis of the building. It's starting with the shape of the site, going to a shape with a hole down the middle which provides a sort of an atrium space which lets the light into the building, allows for an apartment typology which has cross-flow ventilation, and yeah, so it's a way of delivering an efficient building from a construction point of view, but also apartments that have a relatively high level of amenity, and also the opportunity to build a building which has a relatively low environmental footprint, especially for the future occupants. And then obviously the last little picture there is breaking that down into the wings of the building with some gaps that let airflow and light in specifically. So the breakdown of apartment typologies is up in this corner here. There's the adaptive commercial ones facing the pond, some studios.
Some one, some two, some 3 bedroom.
3 bedroom with study, and potentially on the very top of the building, there's effectively a row of 2-storey townhouses. sitting on the top 2 stories, which are a sort of a different typology to apartment living. It's more like a townhouse in the sky sort of thing, which is why they're being called sky terraces on the drawing here. So we'll keep going. So one of the things that we're looking at as part of the building is going a little bit beyond our block boundary, looking at improving the frontage to the pond that we're facing out onto. So obviously we'll have to get permission from TCCS, who are the custodians of that land, to go out there, but just we think that there's a bit of an opportunity to make a little bit more of the little walkway around the pond. And also, I think this is just, it's a pretty simple straight line at the moment, but just drawn in a link around the southern side of the site, just acknowledging that there's a couple of desire lines down there.
It's obvious that people are walking around there
to get to the pond, and so again, understanding how we sit in the locality and trying to contribute to that to a degree. So then this is just the sort of car park level floor plan with you can see the retail spaces fronting onto the car park, the entry to the basement coming down off Bentley Place, a sort of a central services and facilities area in the site. Unfortunately, we have to allocate a huge amount of space for waste and waste collection and services and loading and those sorts of things. And then in the middle of the sort of atrium space, the design has a sort of a tiered communal spaces in it. So there's this what's coloured in green here would be communal space in the central core, and then and this is kind of the landscape design of
the same level.
And then this is going down a level into the basement level, to the lower level of these frontages out towards the pond, and a row of garages sort of servicing those ones. And then this is one level up from the ground level, and you can see this sort of tiered community space that's one floor up, that has sort of some outdoor space and some indoor space, maybe like a co-working office or a library or a little gym or something like that for the to provide amenity for the residents. And then up another level inside, there's the opportunity for green space on top of that space, and then we have this sort of the stacks of apartments going up around that. And then another thing which we can talk about on this slide is the idea of the circulation in the building, where the lift core is in the central point here, and then there's basically elevated walkways that take people which are outside.
Take people around to the doors.
And so what it provides is it's like a footpath, but bringing people to a single lift core means that it kind of increases the sort of social interaction between the residences when we're bringing them all to one space together. So it's hopefully it's part of helping to build a community in a building, rather than a sort of socially isolated apartment dwellers that we get talked about sometimes. So I'm going to keep stepping through. That's just the bottom basement level. This is another view from the car park area. As you can see, it's from this side here, it's 9 stories tall, and I think that's the issue that most people have been writing to me about. And so I'm suspecting that people have a couple of questions about the logic for that, for going that tall. And then this is just talking about some of the materials and finish. I think that what
the materials and finishes are
sort of complementary to what's been used in the marketplace, etc. And so then this is just the sort of flat elevation of the building from the car park side and from the pond side, and from the southern side. So, and then this is obviously one of the key issues that gets raised in relation to building taller buildings is the impact of solar access to particularly people in the adjoining community. And so this is actually one of the key reasons why the project team has said, like, why wouldn't we go taller on a site like this? So Casey Group Centre is it's a group centre. It's supposed to be bigger than a local centre. It's designed to have 2, maybe even 3 supermarkets as part of the sort of concept planning. And the ACT government in their sort of strategic planning documents
identified places where they want to
see urban intensification. So Casey's one of those places. And so then when we look at the impact on solar amenity from building a taller building on this site, we're not overshadowing other people. Our shadow is being cast just down onto the road reserve effectively. So, and I think that's the last. Yeah, that's the last image in the slide pack. I know the other thing that we should talk about is just the aspirations of the developers of this building from a sort of sustainability point of view. They have a very strong track record of delivering good quality projects that include initiatives which have, to some extent, broken the mould for some other apartment buildings in Canberra. And so, like, as much photovoltaics on the roof as we can.
investigating
Other sort of PV facades, centralised plant to provide heating and cooling, and hot water as an energy saving opportunity. There's a lot of detail which is probably kind of yet to be resolved in the sort of sustainability overlay, but these are the sorts of things that will certainly be in more detail in the development application. I know on another development that they delivered, they provided some share cars to as part of the body corporate process to try and provide people the opportunity to have a car share system for their building, so that it meant that people didn't need to own a second car because they had that opportunity. So that's the sort of things that we'd be trying to deliver, but not promising at this stage because it's obviously there's a little bit of work in progress still. And I think the last thing I should say
before I start talking about you ask questions
is just in terms of where we're at in the overall process. We've come up with a scheme, which is what we're presenting here. We're presenting it as pre-DA consultation to the community. What we need to do next is receive feedback from the community. We need to understand what people are telling us, and we need to take that on board. And we do one of 2 things with feedback that we get. We can understand the concerns and seek to explain and justify why we're doing what we're doing, or we can change the development to respond. So obviously we're gathering feedback now, and so then we'll have the think about how to respond to that feedback afterwards. And then once we've done that, we put a formal development application into the planning authority. And that development application gets publicly notified, and that's when you can write to the planning authority and say you like how we've changed it. You can see that we've taken your feedback on board, or you've still got things that you want to talk about.
Okay.
Pardon? Oh yeah, sorry. I should also say that the purpose of tonight was not to take over the Community Council meeting, and that we are having an online session on Monday night as well, which is advertised on our website. And so there's a much longer time put aside to discuss and ask questions as well.
Okay. Because I've got the microphone and chairing the meeting, got an online question. Could you elaborate the time frame for commencement to completion and what's the expected level of disruption during construction?
Okay, so I think approximately an 18-month build time for a building of this sort of scale. The commencement is subject to the planning approval
process.
So we would be planning to put a development application in later this year. Currently, development applications are taking 6 months to get through the planning authority. So, for us, hopefully early next year, but possibly mid next year for a commencement.